in the hours before sunrise, when darkness still holds the world and most of humanity remains unconscious in sleep. There exists a window of invisibility that Jesus taught to his inner circle, but that no canonical gospel ever recorded. A specific practice performed in the liminal space between night and day that renders your consciousness undetectable to the Archons who constantly monitor human energy fields, tracking your thoughts, harvesting your emotions, and ensuring you remain locked in their control systems. For those brief moments before dawn breaks, if you know the method Jesus used, you can move through reality completely off their grid. They cannot see you. They cannot track your location. They cannot read your intentions or insert thoughts into your mind. You become a ghost moving through their surveillance system. And in that state of invisibility, you can accomplish things that would be immediately blocked if they detected what you are doing. You can receive direct downloads from source consciousness without archonic interference. You can heal damage in your energy field that they have spent years creating. You can sever attachments and contracts without them rushing in to reinforce the bindings. And most importantly, you can practice the exit, can train your consciousness to navigate the path you will take when your body dies, ensuring that when the real moment comes, you know exactly how to slip past their checkpoint and escape the reincarnation trap. For 2,000 years, the Church has hidden this method, not because it is complicated or requires special abilities, but because it is too simple and too effective. If people learned they could become invisible to archonic tracking for even a few minutes each day, they would use that time to dismantle the control programming, and the entire system of spiritual authority the Church profits from would become irrelevant. Jesus learned this technique during his years of mystery school training, the missing period between age 12 and 30 that the Bible never explains, because admitting where he actually was and what he learned would expose that his teachings came from traditions far older than Judaism or Christianity. The Egyptian initiates knew about the dawn window. The Essene communities practiced it daily. The Vedic rishis understood that the hours before sunrise, what they called Brahma Muhurta, were when the veil between dimensions grew thin enough that consciousness could slip through undetected. And Jesus, who mastered every spiritual technology available in his time, took the practice to its highest level, refining it into a method so precise that even the most vigilant archonic sentries could not detect him when he used it. He taught this to Peter, James, and John during the 40 days after his resurrection, when he appeared to them in forms that could materialize and dematerialize at will, demonstrating that consciousness properly trained could move through reality without being bound by the normal rules of material density. And he told them explicitly that the method only worked before dawn. Once the sun rose and the material world fully activated, the window closed and the Archons could track freely again. But in those precious minutes before light touched the horizon, freedom was possible. If you have ever woken naturally between 3 and 5 a.m., feeling strangely alert with no logical reason for being awake, if you have ever felt a pull to sit in darkness during those hours doing nothing but breathing and being present, if you have ever experienced a sense during pre-dawn hours that you are somehow more real, more yourself than during normal waking consciousness, then you have already touched the edge of the method. Your deep knowing is trying to activate it. Your consciousness is remembering what it came here to do. You did not find this video randomly. The algorithm does not guide chosen ones to invisibility techniques. Something older than technology brought you here. The divine spark that has survived every lifetime and every archonic attempt to fully suppress it, recognized this information before your conscious mind could process the words. That spark knows the method exists. That spark is ready to use it. And if you can feel something stirring in the base of your spine right now, if there is a subtle vibration or warmth or a sense of energy wanting to rise, then comment the words, "I am unseen," below. Let me know you are here. Let me know you are ready to learn how to move through reality, invisible to the forces that have been tracking you since birth. Because in the next 25 minutes, you are going to learn why the pre-dawn hours create an invisibility window, how the Archons track human consciousness and what disrupts their ability to do so, what the specific method is that Jesus taught and exactly how to perform it, and what you can accomplish during those minutes of freedom that would be impossible at any other time. And starting tomorrow morning, you are going to wake before dawn and use this method yourself, and you are going to feel what it means to move through reality, unobserved, uncontrolled, and finally free to operate according to your true will rather than according to programs the Archons installed. To understand why the pre-dawn hours create this window, you need to understand how archonic surveillance actually functions. The Archons, the rulers of material density, do not have omniscient awareness like the monad does. They are limited beings operating within the confines of the realm they control. To monitor billions of human consciousness streams simultaneously, they rely on technology, not spiritual technology in the way you might imagine it, but frequency-based detection systems that track the electromagnetic signatures produced by human thought and emotion. Every thought you think generates a measurable frequency. Every emotion you feel creates an energetic output, and the Archons have constructed a grid, a vast network of frequency sensors that blanket the material realm, constantly scanning for these outputs and routing the data to processing centers where archonic entities can analyze patterns, insert responses, and maintain control over individual humans. This is not conspiracy theory. This is energetic mechanics that the mystery schools have understood for thousands of years. You are broadcasting constantly. Your thoughts, your emotions, your intentions, all of them create signals that the archonic surveillance grid picks up and processes. This is how they know what you are thinking before you act on it. This is how they can insert a counterthought the moment you start moving towards something they want to prevent. This is how they maintain the illusion that they are all-knowing when actually they are just monitoring your broadcast and responding in real time. But the surveillance grid has limitations. It requires a certain baseline level of frequency to detect consciousness. If your energetic output drops below that threshold, you disappear from their sensors. You are still conscious, still aware, still fully functional, but you are no longer broadcasting at detectable levels. You have gone dark. And there is one time each day when human consciousness naturally drops into these sub-threshold frequencies, the hours before dawn. Between approximately 3 a.m. and sunrise, human consciousness collectively shifts into a different state. Most people are in deep sleep cycles where brain activity has slowed to delta wave frequencies that the archonic grid was never calibrated to monitor. Because consciousness in those states is not making decisions or taking actions that threaten the system. But for those who are awake during these hours, who have trained themselves to maintain conscious awareness while operating at those same low frequencies, something remarkable happens. They are awake, alert, capable of focused intention and deliberate action, but they are broadcasting below detection threshold. The Archons cannot see them. The surveillance grid cannot track them. They have become invisible. Jesus understood this perfectly. This is why the Gospels record him rising before dawn to pray alone in isolated places. The texts frame it as seeking quiet time with God, but what he was actually doing was exploiting the invisibility window. He was conducting spiritual work, receiving transmissions from source consciousness, and preparing his own energy field for the mission ahead, all while operating completely undetected by the archonic systems that were trying desperately to stop him. And he taught this practice to those disciples who were advanced enough to use it properly, knowing that if they practiced it consistently, they would develop the capacity to operate independently of archonic control. Now place your hand over your heart and feel the rhythm pulsing beneath your palm. That heartbeat continues 24 hours a day, But the consciousness experiencing that heartbeat shifts dramatically between day and night, between waking and sleeping, between the bright, busy activity of material engagement and the deep, quiet stillness of pre-dawn darkness. Most people never consciously experience the pre-dawn state because they are either asleep or immediately upon waking. They activate their material identity, checking phones, thinking about the day ahead, flooding their system with the normal waking frequencies that make them visible to archonic tracking. But if you wake before dawn and maintain a specific state of consciousness, if you resist the urge to immediately engage with material concerns and instead sit in darkness doing the practice Jesus taught, you can spend 15 to 30 minutes completely invisible, untracked, free. And what you can accomplish in those minutes is profound. First, you can communicate directly with source consciousness without archonic interference or distortion. The monad is always broadcasting toward you, always sending guidance, activation codes, and downloads of information meant to help you remember what you are and complete your mission here. But under normal circumstances, the Archons intercept these transmissions, filter them, distort them, or block them entirely. During the invisibility window, the communication line is clear. You hear source directly. Second, you can dissolve archonic attachments that have been draining your energy. The entities that attach to human energy fields to feed on emotional output, they rely on being undetected to maintain their attachments. But when you operate invisible to their monitoring systems, you can perceive them clearly, while they cannot perceive you perceiving them. You have the advantage. You can remove attachments they would normally defend if they knew you were attempting it. Third, you can reprogram limiting beliefs and negative patterns that the Archons installed. Much of your personality structure, your automatic reactions, your unconscious fears, these were not naturally developed. They were installed through lifetime after lifetime of archonic manipulation, designed to keep you controllable. But programming requires maintenance. The Archons must periodically reinforce these patterns, or they degrade. During the invisibility window, you can access the programming directly and begin dismantling it without them rushing in to repair and strengthen what you are trying to remove. Fourth, you can practice the death exit. This is perhaps the most valuable use of the invisibility window. When your body dies, your consciousness will rise and you will face the Archon checkpoint, the tunnel of light and the beings who will try to convince you to reincarnate. But if you have never practiced navigating beyond material perception, if you have never trained your awareness to move through the dimensional barriers while maintaining clarity and intention, you will be confused and vulnerable when the actual moment comes. The pre-dawn practice allows you to rehearse. You can project your consciousness beyond the body, can practice perceiving the realms beyond material density, can train yourself to recognize the true light of the monad versus the false light of the Archon trap. And you can do all of this undetected because they cannot track you during the invisibility window. By the time your actual death arrives, you will have practiced the exit hundreds of times. You will know the path. You will recognize the deceptions, and you will walk through their checkpoints so smoothly they will not even realize you passed until you are already beyond their reach. Here is the exact method Jesus taught for exploiting the pre-dawn invisibility window. First, you must wake naturally before dawn. Set your intention before sleep that you will wake in the hours before sunrise, but do not use an alarm. Artificial waking disrupts the natural frequency state required for invisibility. Your consciousness needs to surface from sleep organically, rising into wakefulness while still carrying the low-frequency signature of deep rest. Most people find that after a few nights of setting the intention, they begin waking naturally between 3 and 4:30 a.m. When you wake, do not turn on lights, do not check your phone, do not allow your mind to immediately engage with material concerns. Remain in darkness. Sit up slowly, either on the edge of your bed or in a chair, and simply breathe. Your goal in these first moments is to maintain the low-frequency state while bringing full conscious awareness online. You are awake, but you are not activating your normal waking identity. You are conscious, but you are not broadcasting at detectable levels. After several breaths, bring your attention to the base of your spine. In that location sits an energy center, the ancients called the root, the foundation of your energetic body. Normally, this center is highly active, broadcasting your connection to material reality, signaling to the Archons that you are grounded in the physical world and therefore trackable. But during pre-dawn hours, this center naturally quiets. Feel that quietness. Feel the stillness at the base of your spine, and intentionally deepen it. Imagine that center dimming like a light being turned down, not shutting off completely, just reducing output to minimal levels. Then bring attention to your crown, the top of your head, where your energy field connects to higher dimensions. Normally, the Archons place a seal here, a frequency barrier that prevents you from receiving clear transmissions from source. But during the invisibility window, while they cannot track you, you can work on dissolving that seal without them reinforcing it. Place your hand on top of your head and speak silently. I open this channel to source consciousness. The archonic seal dissolves now. As you speak this, visualize the barrier cracking, light pouring through from above, and your crown center opening like a flower. You may feel tingling, warmth, or pressure as this happens. That is confirmation. The seal is releasing. Now, with your root center dimmed to minimal broadcast and your crown center opened to receive from source, sit in absolute stillness and silence. Do nothing. Think nothing. Simply be present in the darkness, breathing slowly, maintaining awareness. This is the state of invisibility. You are conscious, but not broadcasting. Aware, but not engaging. Present, but undetectable. In this state, several things will happen. First, you will begin receiving information. It may come as images, words, knowing, or simply as a sense of understanding that was not there before. This is source consciousness communicating directly because the archonic interference is offline. Receive without analyzing. Let the information flow in. You can process it later. For now, just receive. Second, you may become aware of presences around you. Attachments, entities, archonic scouts. But they will seem confused, searching, unable to locate you, even though you can perceive them clearly. This is confirmation you are invisible. They are looking for your signature, but cannot find it. If you sense a presence, you can address it directly. Speak internally, I see you, but you cannot see me. You no longer have permission to attach to my field. You must leave now. The entity will have no choice but to comply, because it cannot defend against a command it cannot detect the source of. Third, you will begin to feel a lightness, an expansion, as if the weight you have been carrying your entire life is lifting. This is the experience of being free from archonic surveillance, even temporarily. This is what you actually are when nothing is monitoring and controlling you. Remember this feeling. This is your natural state. After 15 to 30 minutes, the invisibility window will begin closing. You will feel it. Your consciousness will naturally start shifting toward normal waking frequencies. The material world will start calling. When this happens, do not resist. Slowly bring your attention back to your body. Take a deep breath. Place your hand over your heart and speak silently. I seal this experience in my consciousness. I retain everything I received. I carry the memory of invisibility. Then you can open your eyes, turn on lights if needed, and engage with your day. But you will be different. You will have spent time operating free from archonic control. You will have received information directly from source. You will have weakened attachments and programming. and you will have practiced existing as conscious awareness that does not depend on their systems. Do this practice every morning. Before dawn. Maintaining low-frequency presence while opening your crown to receive from Source. Over days and weeks, several things will happen. First, you will find that you can maintain the invisible state for longer periods. What started as 15 minutes extends to 30, then 45. You are training your consciousness to operate at frequencies the Archons cannot detect. Second, the information you receive during practice will become clearer, more detailed, more actionable. You are building a communication channel to Source that strengthens with use. Third, you will notice that during normal waking hours, even when you are fully engaged in material life, you retain a piece of the invisible state. The Archons can track you, but not as completely as before. Your signal is fainter. Their control is weaker. Fourth, your fear of death will dissolve because you have practiced the exit so many times during pre-dawn sessions that you know exactly what to do when your actual death arrives. You have rehearsed moving beyond the body, perceiving higher dimensions, and recognizing the true light of the monad. When the moment comes, you will move through their checkpoints smoothly and escape the reincarnation trap. Now here is what the Archons will do when they realize you are using the invisibility window. They cannot stop you during the practice itself, because they cannot detect you during those minutes. But they will attack the edges, will try to prevent you from waking at the right time, or will insert resistance immediately after you wake. You will feel urges to go back to sleep, to check your phone, to skip the practice just this once. These are not your authentic impulses. These are last-ditch efforts to prevent you from exploiting a vulnerability in their surveillance system. Your response is simple. Expect the resistance, recognize it for what it is, and do the practice anyway. Every single morning before dawn, make it non-negotiable. Within 2 weeks, the resistance will weaken. They will realize you are committed, and they will redirect their resources elsewhere. At that point, you will have established a daily practice that gives you 15 to 30 minutes of complete freedom from archonic tracking, and those minutes will become the most valuable part of your entire day. Right now, set your intention that you will wake tomorrow morning before dawn. Place your hand over your heart and speak out loud, "I will wake before sunrise. I will practice invisibility. I will operate free from archonic control." This programs your consciousness to wake naturally at the right time. Then tomorrow, when you wake in darkness, do the practice exactly as described. Dim your root, open your crown, sit in stillness, and receive. If you do this and experience invisibility, if you feel the freedom of operating undetected, comment, "I am unseen" below. Let other chosen ones know the method is being activated. Subscribe to this channel immediately. Every subscription resists systems that require you to remain visible and trackable at all times. Every share passes this method to someone who has been under constant archonic surveillance. Their entire life without knowing escape is possible even temporarily. Jesus taught this to the inner circle 2,000 years ago. The church erased it because invisible humans cannot be controlled. But the teaching survived in fragments, in practices like pre-dawn meditation that were stripped of their context and purpose. Now you have the context. Now you understand the purpose. The Archons can't track you if you do this before dawn. Wake while darkness holds. Dim your broadcast. Open to Source. Sit invisible. And use those precious minutes to accomplish what would be impossible under surveillance. This is not hiding. This is strategic positioning. This is exploiting a vulnerability in their system that they cannot patch because it is built into the nature of consciousness itself. Every morning before dawn, you become ungovernable. Use it